with Man City, did they make it tighter than it should have been? And has that given you any doubts at all for what is ahead for them? Just a tiny bit, Janusz.
Do they make tighter? I don't understand the question, because they've won how many
You
games
don't you
now?
don't think that they should have seen that game away? It finished 2-1 against Leeds.
I mean, they should. They could have. They had 82% possession. They played. They made 7 changes. They've been winning now for fun. I don't remember last time they lost a game. In the end, would it be nicer if it was 5-1? Sure, but it was 2-1. It's 3 points. All that matters. Pep Guardiola was able to rest some of his players, and if it's 2-1 or 7-1, it makes zero difference. I don't think these players thought about it for a second there, because they demolished Leeds United, even if it's not on the scoreboard.
Yeah, the scoreline doesn't say it, though. You don't think that sets any doubts whatsoever?
No, I think they, right after the game, they went out and they even forgot that they played. Probably made jokes about, Big Sam thinking that he's better than Pep.
Well, he's actually said even afterwards that he got that from the master of Sir Alex Ferguson in trying to take all the attention of his players. You don't have that
ego. He truly believes in that. I don't know the man, but I'm convinced that he meant it. I guess if he was even close, never mind better, then he would have been coaching at that level and not at the lower level, I suppose.
Well, maybe it was a smaller scoreline than it has been against some other managers this season, that 2-1. It could have been a bigger scoreline, as you said. One of the big reasons there is because... Go on.
Look, I mean, this was never a game of importance, right? I mean, there are other 3 games, and I do believe that Big Sam can, there's a couple games, West Ham, and I can't remember the last game, where he can take the points, and if he does, he may stay up. So, I mean, I'll give you that, but he made absolutely zero difference in this game.
It was a game of importance for...
No, for Leeds, I'm saying that there was no
difference.
No,
I know, but I'm just moving on to say it was a game of importance for Manchester City, though, which is why Pep Guardiola was very annoyed that Erling Haaland didn't take that penalty when he is the penalty taker for his side. What have you made of the whole situation?
I mean, I'm having out of principle, I agree, because Pep Guardiola is the boss, and if the boss says that a player needs to take the penalty, and to me, if it was 2-0 or 3-0 or 4-0 makes no difference, right? The boss makes the decision, and they went against it. But I think in that dressing room, that's going to go a long, long way. What Erling Haaland has done, because I mean, Gundogan was on a hat trick. It's nonsense for me to think that, well, Gundogan, he didn't score. I mean, here's Ilkay Gundogan, who in this game scored 2 goals, left corner, right corner, one-touch finish with inside of his foot, right? So he certainly is capable of putting away a penalty, and that's probably what they thought. Because if you look at it, he scored 2 penalty from the run of play 18 yards away. So it didn't happen. It didn't work for him. As we all know, everybody misses those. I can understand the annoyance of Pep Guardiola. But I think this is going to be something that all players appreciated, and it strengthens the dressing room. So yes, there's one unhappy man, that's Pep Guardiola, and there's 22, whatever their squad is, who are absolutely against Pep Guardiola. Went to Erling Haaland and said, "Well done, man."
Do you think all of them will be against it? Because obviously it is at a stage, Janusz. Pep explained it himself afterwards, saying if it was 3-0, fair enough. It's the fact it was 2-0. It's where we are in the season. Maybe even if it was earlier in the season, it wouldn't have been a problem. Why are they taking? Why is it? It's a really lovely gesture, but why is he taking that decision into his own hands and at a time like this in the season?
Just because, I mean, I don't think you get more points by winning 7-1 or winning 2-1. You get the same amount of points. So all players, I promise you, every one of those players appreciate that. The only one that didn't is Pep, and he's got the right, and as I mentioned, out of principle. But I think, it makes zero difference. In the end, it was 3 points. If there was a draw, then we're having a different conversation. But at this stage, I think everybody, I mean, if someone's making a big deal out of it, I don't understand it. It's nonsense to me.
If that's deemed an unnecessary risk, though, you don't think we're going to see any more unnecessary risks from City for what's left of the season, right?
Right. I mean, Pep said what you have to say. He's the boss and says, don't do it again. This is what I've said. This is what's agreed. That's why I'm the boss. That's why I've proven that I can win this league. So out of principle, I understand it. But no harm done. Zero harm done. Erling Haaland looks so much better for a young player who could break another record, who can go after records, gave it to Gundogan, who was absolutely outstanding. and was the reason why they were there in the first place, right? Because as I said, two incredibly good and to a degree difficult goals that he scored. So if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have been there in the first place. You know, they had 7 or 8 chances, but they didn't put them away. Haaland, by the way, had a lot of chances. Haaland had a lot of chances in that game, by the way. 2 sitters, 2 unbelievable sitters. So,
yeah, you can have like obviously chances are chances, but goals are goals too. The penalty situation, if there is a penalty now in this Real Madrid game and Erling Haaland has to step up and take it, has it put more attention on a penalty than it would have with him taking it?
Maybe. I think if it was the other way around, I suppose, and Haaland didn't score, it would. But I think Haaland has shown, you know, how good he is. I mean, I don't think it's going to take. Yeah, but I can see it. Look, I mean, we can make any narrative, and media and fans will do it. So, I mean, no matter what happens, I think it could add to it because he chose not to take it. Now, when he takes it and say he doesn't score, of course, there's going to be people that are going to come back and say, what? If he took it against Leeds United, he wouldn't have missed against Real Madrid. I mean, that logic doesn't fly. So, I mean, no, the answer is no.
And I think it's a silly question if I'm to ask you who's going to win the title, but I'll ask you anyway.
Yeah, I'm still with Manchester City. I'm not moving away from that. But I have to say that what happened today, you know, there's that, you know, 5% in me that I think that Arsenal, you know, it can happen. It's not beyond, you know, I mean, look, they're a point behind in just a game. Anybody can slip up. And you know, as we've mentioned, with 2 games against Real Madrid, they still have 4 games in the Premier League. There's a chance where, you know, I thought that I honestly thought that Arsenal were not going to get all 3 points at St. James's. So, you know, we would have absolutely different a conversation, because had they dropped even 2 points, you know, if it was a draw, then you know, done and dusted, right? So we have to give Arsenal. What I saw today, I really enjoyed that, because, you know, I mean, we've known that Arsenal have been superb this season, and Mikel Arteta is making a massive difference. This team is developing. We've talked about that, but my goodness, all the other stuff that we always worry about Arsenal wasn't there. They've proved that they can grind through games, and you know, just really enjoyed watching them play today.
And okay, but so yeah, obviously City still looking over their shoulders.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.